Hello, welcome to Lessons Learned. I'm Sherry. This is Finish It Friday. You will not be seeing my face today because I had a dentist appointment this week that did not go so well, and half of my face is very swollen. So I would just rather not grace my appearance today here on the video, but we will be talking about everything that I got finished this week and the things that you got finished this week. And as promised, I spread out all of the Harriet's journey blocks for you to see that I have done. There are 22 of them, and then I think on Monday I showed you the latest one, setting this project in motion again. I believe it would be your top right. It's the roundish one that is pink and green. That's the one that I did this week. And yeah, I'm anxious to get some more going on this. I really am. So there it is. For all of you new people out there, this is what I have done on that. So 3 more blocks and I will be 1/4 done. So I've got to get busy on this project this year and see if I can get it finished. Okay, let's go now to a new project that I started. The Riley Blake Design Challenge started this week. I failed to mention that on Monday, and I was planning to participate. So when the first block came out, I got the pattern, and it is designed by Lori Holt, and a different designer will make up each of the blocks in this challenge. This is a year-long challenge, 1 block a month, very simple. I'm using Porch Swing by Ashley Collette for Riley Blake Designs, but this challenge is actually made up in their confetti solids. And so if you go on the Riley Blake Design website, you'll see all the information for it there. And I'll go ahead and post a picture here of the fabrics that I'm using and that overall design there. Next, I have this finish, which is the Wednesday video, Scrap Stash Buster project number 3 for 2025. This is layer cake spools from Fat Quarter Shop, and I used a Jane Austen layer cake for this and some connecting threads, neutral there for the background called Gazette. And on the quilting, I used a pattern called Squiggles or Squigs, something like that. I thought it looked very filigree-ish, and I love filigree, and I think it suits this quilt. This quilt's personality. This is 61 by 61, 61 and a half by 61 and a half. There you can see all of the quilting on there. And then for the backing, I used something from Stash. More of the, I believe this is called Timber from Sweetwater. And I had several yards of it. And I went ahead and used some of that. And I also used that as the binding. Now let me show you what I used as far as, don't get dizzy, the other side of the backing. I used my leftover squares from the layer cake, the ones that I pulled out when I was trying to decide what to do. And those are all running down one side. I think I had 2 layer cake pieces left out of this whole set of fabrics, and then probably 1/4 yard or so of the background. So that was a good use of fabric, and I love this. And I think it looks really good as a wall hanging here in my living room. So that project got from cut to binding completely done. I'm loving having that ability to get something done completely in a short period of time. So make yourself up one of these. If you have a layer cake and 2.5 yards of fabric, you can make yourself one. Now let's get into your finishes for this week. We have a nice grouping here. I think you're going to enjoy it very much. Let's start out with Sandra. Now Sandra sent her project for last week and I overlooked it. As a matter of fact, there were 3 of you that I overlooked, I think. 2 or 3 of you. But anyway, I'm getting you this week. So this one is from Sandra. And here's what she says about this beautiful fall quilt. She says, finished my autumn quilt a little too late for this year, but it will look great on the sofa next fall. The pattern is called Hocus Pocus from the pattern basket. I made yellow leaves instead of the called for black stars and really liked the way they turned out. Made a scrappy back from the leftovers and tried a little custom free motion quilting. And Sandy is from Florida. I love your quilt. I noticed your free motion quilting with the leaves. You did an excellent job on that. And I quite like your choice of changing the black stars to happy fall leaves. And the pumpkins are just wonderfully scrappy in all of that fall colored fabric. Very nice job. And she made use of her leftover strips to put on the back. Excellent. Anja, she says that last Sunday she finished this one. It's for a little 5-year-old girl. She loves blue. It's made from my strings and strips. The blocks are 5 inches square on point and the finished size is 52 by 72. This one was so fun to make and my bin with blue strings and strips is almost empty. I quilted it with waves and wavy lines. The back is with 2.5-inch squares. And she says she started some of our scrap blocks with squares. And loves the channel. Thank you, Anja. Anja is from Holland. And kind of like our strip projects with the paint chip blocks, she's got hers sewn up, all of her blues. She's sewn up here. And those are cut on point. And it's amazing that you did all that on the back as well. It's 2 quilts in one. A tremendous amount of work, but it looks great. And of course, I always love the blues. An excellent job, Anja. Brenda. Yes, Brenda is the other one that I missed last week. Look what she's done. She has actually finished the Scrap Stash Challenge number 1 or project number 1 for 2025. She says, I was inspired by your video showing how to make scrap blocks. I didn't have a large enough cut of fabric to make the center squares the same. I did have a fat quarter bundle with various shades of blue, which I used. I'm in love with how it turned out. I still have loads of scraps left and looking forward to more videos using scraps. Yes, Brenda, there will be more. And look what Brenda has done. She did not have a consistent solid big square all the way through, but she did this ombre effect with this grouping of blues that she did. And I think that is genius. Awesome. Love your quilt top. Can't wait to see it all quilted up and bound and ready to use. Susan, this is her finish number 2 for 2025. So she's been busy getting things done. This quilt was also a 2022 Mystery Block of the Month from Stacy Lee Creations. I had to add 10 9-patch blocks. I also added 2.5-inch sashing and borders, and the finished size is 57 by 67, a perfect size for me. Yes, it's a nice cuddle quilt, and I like your use of color, the lavenders and the pinks and the florals, and then you use the same tan or cream that is in some of the other floral fabrics there. It turned out awesome. Very pretty. Cheryl has a couple of quilts she wants to show here. Actually, it's just one. She says, attached is a few photos of my latest quilt that I finished. Would you please post it on Finish It Friday? Yes, Cheryl, here you are on the big screen. I made the attached quilt from my leftover strings from other quilts. I also added a thin border around each Texas Star quilt block to help them stand out more on the quilt. This quilt is being donated to one of the local hospitals in my area for their dialysis unit. Patients get really cold while going through dialysis, and this quilt is to give them comfort while going through the procedure. The quilt was quilted on my domestic sewing machine, and Cheryl lives in Southwest Wisconsin. Welcome, Cheryl. I don't think that you've sent in any before, so we love having some new quilters on our Finish It Friday episodes, and we love your quilt. The fact that you used your leftover strips, and then your creativity with the star blocks by outlining them in that thin, dark border really makes for a sharp quilt. That's magazine worthy. Very good job, and love your quilting too. Pat from Washington State has sent another one in. I love the color combination on this one. She says, I just finished sewing the top from Bonnie Hunter's mystery quilt for this year. It's my 7th mystery I've participated in. I only made half the blocks, and it made a piece 49 by 64 inches, a great wall hanging size for my living room. It's called Old Town, and I used my own choice of colors, yellow, gray, and turquoise, with neutrals in white and cream. It will have turquoise binding. I think that might be why I love this so much. It has that turquoise and aqua teal shades in it, and then with the orange, oh, it just looks wonderful. Congratulations on getting a mystery quilt-along done. Your quilt turned out great. And see, Pat changed the size. She didn't stick with the original size of the sew-along. She made it fit her needs and made it a little bit smaller. Okay, we have one from, I think we have two here, from Cheryl. And Cheryl is from Ontario, Canada. She says she's been enjoying sharing in with the No Buy January with us. And she's been going through a few project boxes and found fabric for pillowcases. So she made a few pairs and then a baby quilt from her 2.5 and 3.5 inch scraps. So first you see here her pairs of pillowcases are very, very nice. Great use of fabric, really busts the stash, and those are lovely. And then also her 2.5 and 3.5 squares that she's done here for the baby-sized quilt is very striking, and she says she's getting ready to start the scrap buster #1 next, and that way she can use up more of her scraps in a different layout. She says, thanks for all the encouragement to use up what we have. Finish It Fridays are really motivating. Thank you for all the sharing of everyone's lovely finishes. Thank you, Cheryl. It's a pleasure. It really is. Love that baby quilt. That is awesome. Carol has several. Carol has one here that's a baby quilt called Crystals for a little girl due the end of February. Very cute. Love the floral backing with that too. It kind of softens the modernness of the front. Perfect for a girl with pinks, purples, and blues. The other one she sent was of our Jolly Bar Row quilt. And she did a great job on this and customized it a little bit with the borders. And she says she's enjoying the winter in her sewing room. And she's getting ready to go on a 4.5-day retreat. Actually, she might be there now. So I love the fall colors you decided to use for the sew along. I like how you softened up your stars. That works. And then you just put borders on the top and the bottom, which gave it a little bit more of a rectangular shape. I love what you did there. Very nice. And then she also made 9 of these pouches for from a pattern by Annie. By Annie. I believe that's what you meant to say. And it looks like you've used a lot of Cafe fabrics. Nice little gifts there. Very colorful. They will be enjoyed. The next one is from Liz. This is a Mexican Stars wall hanging. And she says, my first finish of the January 2025 UFO challenge with Crazy Moose Fabrics in Greenville, Maine. Mexican Stars. Just got the binding hand sewn on today. This was back on Tuesday of this week. It feels so good to have a finish. Yes, I can totally relate with you, Liz. Machine quilted on my domestic Bernina 475 QE. The finished size ended up being 32 3/4 by 32 3/4. Yes, that's a very nice wall hanging size. She says it's considered a dimensional quilt pattern by Southwind Designs. I was intimidated when first reading the directions, but it was actually pretty simple. And the intimidating part ended up reminding me of cathedral windows with the curving technique. Had this kit a couple decades. So happy to see it made up, and I love it. Congratulations, Liz. That was a long time asleep UFO that you woke up and got in motion and got it finished. First one of 2025. Good for you. Kathy did the June Taylor project bag that came in the Sew Sampler box. Now this is the same one that I did and showed you last week. I think I showed it to you on Monday, didn't I? Was that this Monday? I get my days mixed up. She says she decided to use some fabric from her stash to make it purple because I will be gifting it to a friend for her birthday and her favorite color is purple. I don't know if you had trouble working with the vinyl, but when it got to the part where you needed to base the layers of the bag together, I had trouble with the vinyl sticking and my machine would not sew over it. Yes, I did have problems with that. I noticed in the directions it said to lift it up and not let it lay flat on the bed of your sewing machine, but I was still having a lot of trouble with it sticking to my Sew Steady inserts. So I took the tissue paper that was with it and put that on the bed of my sewing machine, and that helped immensely to keep it from sticking. Now she says so she put wonder clips around it to hold it in place and sewed the binding on the front, and then when she turned it over to finish the sewing from the binding on the back, she had put the tissue paper down because the vinyl kept sticking on the machine. Yes, see? She says, I don't think I like working with vinyl, but I did the making of the project bag. Yes, I totally understand, Kathy. I went through some of the same little struggle with that. Kathy is from North Carolina, and she got her project bag done and customized for her friend that she wants to gift it to. So that is what we have for this week. I hope that you have a wonderful weekend looking for things in your sewing room to finish up, maybe from prior years. And also keep going, keep in motion, stay in motion with our projects that we're doing. Project 1, Project 2, now we have Project 3. And I hope that, one of those will probably pique your interest and you'll want to try it with your scraps. If not, there will probably be something in the near future. No doubt a scrap/stash project number 4 for 2025. Stay tuned. I will have those videos on Wednesday. And as usual, I will be back here with you on Monday for Monday Quilt Chat. Have a wonderful weekend. Bye.